The tumultuous reign of tariffs. A deep dive into conservative media's response to Trump's economic gamble. Donald Trump's presidency was a whirlwind of unpredictable policy shifts, and perhaps none was more dramatic and divisive than his approach to tariffs. While the imposition and subsequent pause of hefty tariffs ignited a trade war, sending shockwaves through global financial markets, the response from America's conservative media landscape was, to put it mildly, complex and often perplexing. This essay will dissect the nuanced reactions, exploring how the right-leaning media outlets navigated the turbulent waters of economic uncertainty and unwavering loyalty to a controversial figure. The initial announcement of sweeping tariffs, promising a Liberation Day, followed by a 10% universal tariff on all imported goods and escalating reciprocal tariffs against major trading partners, including a staggering 34% on Chinese imports and 20% on goods from the European Union, sent ripples of apprehension through the financial world. Economists issued dire warnings of impending recession and rampant inflation. The stock market plunged, marking its steepest decline since the onset of the COVID-19 pandemic. Yet, within the conservative media ecosystem, a stark contrast emerged. While some economists, business leaders, Democrats, and even a handful of Republican lawmakers voiced serious concerns, the dominant narrative within the conservative media sphere was one of either enthusiastic endorsement or carefully worded criticism of the policy itself, carefully avoiding direct condemnation of the president. This selective critique, as observed by journalists and media analysts, reveals a fascinating dynamic, a prioritization of political allegiance over objective economic analysis. Fox News, the undisputed heavyweight champion of conservative media, with a viewership dwarfing that of CNN and MSNBC, set the tone. Its prominent hosts, including Sean Hannity and Jesse Waters, consistently showered Trump with praise, often amplifying his claims regardless of their factual basis. The network's unwavering support, however, faced a challenge from the emergence of Newsmax and One American News Network, OANN. Outlets that positioned themselves as even more ardent defenders of the president, vying for the hearts and minds of the most devoted Trump supporters. The Wall Street Journal, despite sharing ownership with Fox News, presented a more multifaceted picture. While its opinion section leaned right, its investigative journalism ventured into critical examinations of both Trump and Joe Biden, maintaining a degree of journalistic independence that appealed to a more discerning audience, particularly those within the financial sector. Hannity's reaction to Trump's tariff announcement perfectly encapsulated the celebratory tone adopted by many conservative commentators. He hailed Liberation Day as a day that will be remembered as a turning point, and the start, I hope for every American, of a new golden age. This unwavering optimism starkly contrasted with the anxieties of economists and financial leaders who predicted dire consequences. The Republican Party's response was similarly divided. While most lawmakers rallied behind the president, a notable minority, such as Senators Ted Cruz and Rand Paul, openly expressed their dissent, characterizing the tariffs as a de facto tax increase on American consumers. Fox Business, despite featuring guests who questioned the wisdom of the tariffs, maintained a carefully balanced approach. Meanwhile, Fox News personalities, seemingly unfazed by the market turmoil, reassured viewers, downplaying their concerns about their investments. A request for an interview with a Fox News spokesperson went unanswered. Jeanine Pirro's dismissive attitude on the Five perfectly illustrated the prevailing sentiment among certain conservative commentators. "I don't really care about my 401k today," she declared. "We've got to have manufacturing in this country, and Donald Trump is the only one who could do it because he's got the biggest consumer base in the world. He's not afraid of anybody." Matt Gertz, a senior fellow at Media Matters for America, offered a compelling analysis of the situation. He argued that Fox News and similar outlets were in too deep to abandon Trump. Years of cultivating an image of Trump as a capable leader had created a narrative that was difficult to reconcile with the economic chaos he was unleashing. The network, he claimed, was trapped by its own carefully constructed narrative. They have, for nearly a decade now, sold their audience on the sense that Donald Trump would be a good president, Gertz observed. Now he is single-handedly causing a worldwide market collapse, but they can't abandon him. Other conservative news organizations adopted a different strategy: avoidance. OWN, for instance, notably downplayed the tariff story, focusing instead on seemingly unrelated issues. An article concerning Nancy Pelosi's comments on tariffs from 1996, bizarrely, overshadowed any substantive coverage of the current crisis. While the network did interview Arthur Laffer, a conservative economist who received the Presidential Medal of Freedom from Trump, Laffer's acknowledgement of the potential for recession if the tariffs remained in place did little to temper the network's overall pro-Trump bias. He ultimately concluded that despite the economic risks, he couldn't imagine a better president. Newsmax, meanwhile, published a headline claiming that Trump's tariffs were generating $2 billion daily, a figure that Reuters swiftly debunked, revealing the actual figure to be closer to $200 million. The Daily Wire's Ben Shapiro, a prominent conservative pundit, offered a more critical assessment of the tariffs, questioning their effectiveness in revitalizing American manufacturing and even advocating for the dismissal of Peter Navarro, the White House trade advisor instrumental in shaping the tariff strategy. However, even Shapiro's criticism stopped short of directly blaming Trump. Aaron Rupar, a journalist closely monitoring Trump's interactions with conservative media, noted that while the coverage of the tariffs was somewhat more candid than the handling of events such as the January 6th Capitol attack or Trump's post-presidency trials, it still lacked the level of critical analysis one might expect from supposedly objective news outlets. The ultimate resolution to the tariff crisis, at least temporarily, involved a 90-day pause on reciprocal tariffs, excluding China, whose tariff was raised to 125%, leaving many questioning the whole spectacle. Caroline Leavitt, the White House press secretary, attributed the confusion to a failure to understand the art of the deal, suggesting that the media missed the strategic brilliance of the entire maneuver. Ainsley Earhart of Fox News echoed this sentiment the following day. The episode of the Trump tariffs serves as a compelling case study in the complexities of political loyalty versus journalistic integrity, particularly within the conservative media landscape. The significant divergence between the concerns expressed by the financial community and the often celebratory or dismissive tone adopted by many conservative media outlets raises serious questions about the nature of media bias and the role of responsible reporting in times of economic uncertainty. The narrative crafted by the conservative media, often prioritizing political alignment over economic reality, highlights the ongoing debate concerning the influence of ideology on media coverage and its potential impact on public perception and decision-making. The story of Trump's tariffs isn't simply about economics. It's a revealing microcosm of the broader media landscape and its ongoing struggle with objectivity and accountability.